Hey everyone, we have reached 1 month postpartum. Victor is 4 weeks and it was a pretty eventful month. Victor is doing really well. We had some trouble of getting him back to his birth weight, which I mentioned before. But other than that, well, a few other things which I will get to in a minute. But he is doing very well and we enjoy him so much. I love him more every day. And Daniel and I are always telling each other how cute he is, and we just enjoy everything he does, the faces he has. Sometimes he frowns or he smiles in his sleep, and all the little noises he makes, all those things are just so cute, and we are enjoying him so much. Now Victor changed so much already. It's amazing how fast that goes in 1 month. I was looking back at the pictures of the first days and he really looks different. Now first let's talk about sleep. Victor sleeps 3 or 4 hour stretches during the night. So for example, he will wake up at 1 o'clock and then I will nurse him. We change his diaper and then I nurse him back to sleep, and that takes about an hour. And then he wakes up at around 5 o'clock again, and then I nurse him, we change his diaper if necessary, and then I nurse him back to sleep. Now also during the day he naps a lot, although he also has some days that he is very active and awake, but then the next day he seems to want to catch up and sleeps extra. And Daniel and myself, we try to nap also during the day when he naps, at least once, and just because we're pretty tired because of the interrupted sleep we have at night. Victor is a very easy baby. He's really content and easy to soothe. And a fun fact, I hear him in the background. He is sleeping over here. I don't know if you can see him. Yes, I guess you can see his head and his arm. So he's really easy to soothe, and the fun fact is that he loves to pee on the changing table. So when we take off his diaper, he starts peeing a lot. So that's quite funny. It happens almost every time. When we take his diaper off, he starts peeing. Now about a week ago we got a thrush, and I expected that to happen because I was on antibiotics. And of course the antibiotics affected my levels of healthy bacteria, which affected him too because of course I breastfeed him. And then the white spots started to appear in his mouth and my breasts and nipples got really sore and itchy. So my mom ordered Gentian Violet for us. It's a purple ink that you can put in the baby's mouth and on your nipples, and that's supposed to get rid of the thrush. So we are using it for 7 days now and it seems to get a little bit better. Now the thrush doesn't seem to bother him that much. He doesn't seem to be in pain, which is great of course, because I worried about that a little bit. Now the thrush makes the nursing uncomfortable for me, but it's nothing like the pain I had in the first few weeks with the cracked nipples. And I could just scream every time he latched. It was so painful. And by the way, I was on the antibiotics because of a bladder infection and mastitis. I got both things at the same time. Now the infections are almost gone, the mastitis and the bladder infection. And it doesn't feel 100% healed yet, but I feel like I'm getting there, luckily. Now I've taken all the antibiotics that I got from my doctor. All the pills are gone now. So because it still doesn't feel like the bladder infection is completely gone, I take cranberry pills, because that's supposed to help really well with a bladder infection. Now I think the bladder infection took so long to heal and still isn't healed completely is because I waited with the antibiotics. I took cranberry pills for more than a week first because I didn't want to take the antibiotics because I knew we probably would get thrush if I took it, which happened as I told you. But then I got a fever and I knew I had to start the antibiotics or it would just get worse. And also it took so long because I'm still recovering from the delivery. I lost a lot of blood, and of course that has its effects on the body as well and on your ability to heal. Now a little bit more about nursing. We had a pretty difficult start, and I think the first thing that went wrong is that we discovered after 3 days that he had a tongue tie which needed to be cut. So he didn't latch the right way, which led to cracked nipples, which was so painful. And like I said, I could scream every time he latched. It was just excruciating. Hello?
Heb je mama nodig?
Hmm?
Heb je mama nodig?
Mama nodig?
Ben je aan het filmen?
Ja.
Wat ben je aan het filmen?
1 month postpartum. Maar hoezo 1 mama bedoel je?
Ik dacht dat je dat zei.
Oh, okay. Now apart from that, my milk supply didn't increase fast enough, maybe because he didn't latch the right way, but also because of the major blood loss. I lost 1.6 liters of blood. So Victor lost too much weight and he didn't pee for the first 36 hours or so, a little bit too long, so the hospital staff worried about it. And they advised us to give him formula because, of course, he needed to eat and he also needed to pee, which didn't happen. So I was really bummed about it because I really did not want to give him formula, but at that point I didn't know what else to do, so we gave him formula. Now he really had to gain weight, and I know it's normal that children lose a little bit of weight after they are born, but he lost too much and he didn't gain it back quickly enough. Now I didn't want to give him the formula in a bottle, so we tried the cup feeding in the hospital, and when we got home we tried the finger feeding method, and that was something that the nurse that helped us the first week told us about, and I was a little bit hesitant about it because I worried that he might get the nipple confusion, because of course a finger is quite different from a nipple. So I shared my thoughts with the nurse and said how I preferred the cup feeding, but then she scared us by telling us that he would swallow way too much air with the cup feeding, which would lead to major cramps, and that finger feeding would be a better option. So we went ahead and finger fed him for about 5 days, I think. And apart from the finger feeding with formula, I also breastfed him because I wanted to increase my milk supply so that the formula would be something temporary. But that was really hard because his latch still wasn't good, and I think that was because of the nipple confusion caused by the finger feeding. So my nipples continued to get damaged and be cracked, and it was so painful for like 2 weeks, I think. Now at the end of the first week it was still a lot of drama and pain when it came to the breastfeeding, and I was so discouraged and I felt really down and I was crying a lot. So I still get emotional talking about this because it was just very rough, very difficult. And also because I felt like the nurse, she knew a little bit about breastfeeding, but not enough. And it's just felt like everything went wrong, and I had no idea how long it would take for us to get it right, you know? So towards the end of the first week, So towards the end of the first week, my mom offered to come over to stay with us to help us out, and I was so grateful for that. She said I can come over and help you during the day and during the night to help you make sure he latches the right way, because my mom worked as a breastfeeding consultant and she doesn't live very close to us, so if she lived closer to us, I guess she would have helped earlier during the week. And also when I had realized sooner that the hospital staff and the nurse that was with us didn't know enough about the breastfeeding, then I would have asked her to come over sooner, but you know, you cannot know everything in advance, of course. So then my mom came over, which was such a relief, and she helped me during the day and during the nights with every feed to make sure he latched the right way, and also to keep him awake during the feeding, because the first few weeks he always fell asleep when he was drinking his milk at my boob. You know what I mean. That for me, also the fact that he always fell asleep was really discouraging too. At some point I just didn't know what to do anymore. But we kept doing our best and my mom continued to help us day and night, and eventually things got a little bit better and better. My nipples started to heal, his latch got better. We did some exercises with him to make sure his tongue would be in the right position when nursing, because that seemed to be a problem. And that got better too because of the exercises that we did with him. Oh, and I forgot to tell my mom about this supplemental nursing system for us. So towards the end of the first week, when the nurse was still with us, we switched from the finger feeding to the supplemental nursing system. And that's a bottle that you put around your neck, and it's has a few little tubes that you tape to your breast. And then the baby can latch and he gets your own milk, but also the milk from the bottle through the tubes. And that is a great system which does not lead to nipple confusion, so that felt a lot better. So the help of my mom and this supplemental nursing system were lifesavers, and everything got better slowly but steadily every day and every week. And I also pumped a lot, so my life was reduced to feeding my baby, and then eating, then pumping, then sleeping, then feeding my baby, eating, pumping, sleeping. I didn't do very much else, and this continued for like 3 weeks or so, and that was really hard, and I felt so discouraged at times because it seemed to progress very slowly and it was still very painful, but at the end things got better and better and better. And at this point we don't need the supplemental nursing system anymore. His latch is great, my milk supply increased, and breastfeeding is going very well. It's just only the thrush that we have, but that feels like something very small when I consider everything we've been through. So I'm just so relieved that I can nurse him myself and that we don't need formula anymore. And also nursing is a great way to soothe and comfort your baby, and I just really enjoy it. And I'm really grateful that because of all the hard work and the help of my mom, we got to where we are now. And I couldn't have done it without my mom, so I'm so grateful. I cannot thank her enough, because if it wasn't for her and all her help and advice, I wouldn't have succeeded with the breastfeeding. I couldn't have done it without her, that's for sure. Now, I mentioned the nurse that was with us for the first week. Now, if you watched my pregnancy updates, you know that I was a little bit hesitant about hiring the nurse. Not because of the finances, because most of it is covered by insurance, but because I didn't like the idea of a stranger in the house. I'm not a person that gets a lot of energy from being around people, and I find... I think he's waking up soon. Yeah, so how to explain? Yeah, I just don't get energy from being around people. I love it, of course, but on certain times and not all the time. I ended up hiring a nurse because, of course, it's great to have help. And we knew that she would teach us to take care of our baby, and she would take care of the house and cleaning and everything. Because that's what the nursing agency had told us when they came over to the house to get to know us and to talk everything through. And my husband wasn't at that meeting, but I talked everything through with them. And they told us that the nurse would prepare breakfast, lunch, dinner, fruits in between meals. She would change the bed sheets, she would clean the bathroom, the toilet. They promised us all sorts of things that the nurse would do. But when the nurse was at our house, she didn't do very much at all. It was bad, you guys. Something that was good was that she taught us how to take care of Victor. So that was great. But apart from that, she just sat at a table doing nothing. I don't want to call her lazy because she did some laundry and she swept the floor. But she didn't prepare breakfast, lunch and dinner. She didn't clean the toilet. She didn't change the bed sheets. And yeah, it was just bad. But of course, That week I was so tired and emotionally all over the place, and because my husband wasn't at a meeting with nursing agency, he didn't really know what to expect from the nurse, and for some reason I didn't tell him. We didn't speak a lot about it, so in his mind it wasn't as bad as it was in mine, but I didn't talk about it because my head was just so full with the breastfeeding and the fact that Victor kept losing weight. So I wasn't in the right place to talk to her about expectations and tasks and everything. So I kind of ignored the situation with the nurse, but it didn't feel good at all. And on the last day she cleaned the toilet, but that was it. The rest of the week she didn't do very much, so that was just such a shame because we still have to pay some amount of money for the work that she didn't do. And after the week I kept thinking about it, and I ended up filing a complaint because it was just bad, and this is not the way it's supposed to be. And I have a lot of friends who also hired nurses when they gave birth, and they were so much better. They cleaned the house, they changed the bed and everything that a nurse is supposed to do. So I contacted the nursing agency and I explained everything, the good and the bad, because of course there were also some things that were good about her, and she was friendly. I mean, it wasn't like she was an evil witch or something. But the nursing agency told me that they agreed that it wasn't normal that the nurse did so little, and they are going to talk everything through with their team and with the nurse. But this way I got it out of my system, and I hope it will make sure that this nurse will either quit her job. No, that's not what I hope, but I want to say either quit her job or will improve the work that she does for other families, because this really is not fun in your first week with your baby. But enough about the nurse. I just want to forget about it and enjoy our boy now that everything is going so well. And like I said, we enjoy him so much and we love him more every day, and I can't wait for him to really smile for the first time, because he smiles in his sleep, but it's more the automatic practice smiles, I guess you could call it. And yeah, what else? As you can see, we're still at my parents' house. We're staying here for a few more days and then we are going home, since after all the misfortune, things are getting better now. And my husband has to go to the office again because he had a few weeks off, and he also worked from here, from home, a few days. And he can work from home until Tuesday, I think. And after that he needs to be back at the office again. Now please let me know if you also want a video about my labor and delivery story, because I didn't share much about it yet. I guess most of you would like to hear about it. I also love to hear labor and delivery stories. I still have to watch the footage. I'm a little hesitant because it was quite intense, and it's just a little scary to watch everything, all the footage, but I'm going to do that soon, and then I'll see if there is any material that I can include in a video about the labor and delivery. Now Victor is still sleeping, so I am going to edit this video while I can, and then I will see you in my next one. Bye! Such a cutie. He is over here, I'll show you. Here he is. He's, I think, waking up right now because he needs his milk real soon. So